So we met in the parking lot of Honest Ed's.
Yes, many years ago.
20 years ago.
I was doing a show with Katrina Murphy and Meg Rowe, who both are now in Onegin, and it was a Sean Dixon play, and you were there visiting Sean Dixon. I asked you to do the music for that show.
And I said, no way, Jose.
Yeah.
I cost the big bucks. Yeah, no, we ended up working on other shows for theater replacement.
That's right.
Vancouver Opera, and then Craigslist Cantata, which was
here at
where,
the Arts Club.
Yeah, which is where we got really close.
And the thing about it, Craigslist was it felt so, like it was all about disconnection. And I remember telling the actors you can't look at each other through the whole show, and they really hated that.
Yeah.
Now we're going to show, but it's all connection, and people are loving each other, and lots of kissing and holding each other.
And a story.
Yes,
and a big
story.
A big story and an old story. And that's the thing with the great Russian stories, is that even though they are old, they feel like they happened yesterday in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. That's what first struck me when working on the opera, assisting on Vancouver Opera's Evgeni Onegin, was just how modern it felt, and how like these characters they could have just stepped away from today, like Vancouver right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then we went to Berlin, because I had a little writing residency, and I said, okay, come and we'll see what we can do. And
I just happened to be in the area.
Just hanging around,
yeah,
because you're so sophisticated.
That's right.
And I remember I got to the studio that I was renting, this little room with a piano in it, before you got to the city. And I thought, I'll just explore the neighborhood. And I turned the corner from the studio, and there was a restaurant called Onegin right there. And I went, oh, damn it, we're going to have to do this show.
The sign that was laid.
Yeah, many signs. And so we wrote 6 or 7 tunes, and this is back in the summer of 2013.
Yep.
And we took it home and did a little workshop with many of the same actors that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
And so Rachel Dieter came to that first workshop, and on the basis of our little sketches, the Arts Club offered us a silver commission to complete the work.
And then we knew we were locked in, and then from there there was a React workshop, and there were 2 other workshops, including an In Tune festival workshop.
I also got artist in residence at the Arts Club, which was very helpful for things like writing all the harmonies and getting started on the arrangements and things like that. So really, it bought us the time to make this work complete in a very satisfying way.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that was that I love about Craigslist, and we've carried over that idea is here, was just like as much light as possible. And I remember talking to John Weber. It was just like, where can we find as much light? And then Ju Facey, the designer, said, well, what about chandeliers, and what about cage bulbs? And so it feels like the stage is just filled with light, and the way the actors are kind of moving all over the place throughout the space. It feels really, feels like there's more than 10 people up there, actually. Like it feels like it's an environment that feels very, like the audience feels involved in that environment too, I think.
Yeah, and the band is up along the back, and early on in the process I said I wanted to do something plugged in and electric, where everybody was mic'd so that it could have just more punch and more volume.
Rocking out with the Russians.
That's right.
Yeah.